My name is Kimba, and this is the first episode of my review channel, Spoiled Milk. Today I'll be reviewing Severed, which is a first-person, single-player, dark fantasy-styled game that was released on the PlayStation Store and also for iOS, which is the version that I played. It's a gorgeous and multifaceted game, so let's just jump right into it. In Severed, you play as Sasha, a teenage girl who wakes up in a dark, monstrous, and monster-filled world. It quickly becomes apparent that there was a terrible attack, the details of which are never really fully explained, but what you do know is that in the attack she lost her right arm along with her entire family, her mother, her father, and her younger brother. A strange being appears, gives you a sword, and tells you that you can save your family. As you progress through the game, you defeat monsters, collect their severed body parts, and then eat them to level up. So this isn't your typical kid-friendly turn-based monster battle where when you slash and defeat the enemy, it just disappears. Severed has no chill. If you fail to build up your sever meter before dealing the final blow, the monster legitimately explodes into fleshy, bloody bits. It's kind of fantastic. The gameplay is fun and unique. Every time that you defeat a boss or explore a new temple, you gain spells or upgrades to help you on your journey. They also actually unlock areas of previous temples, which gives you incentive to go back and explore them and collect all of the brain and heart pieces in preparation for the final boss battle. Oh, did I forget to mention that you level up by finding sections of brains and hearts, and when you have a whole, you eat it, thereby expanding your health and magic meters? Oh yes, delicious. Spoilers! Discovering how to play the game is a joy, and the graphics are colorful and eerily beautiful, but the story very quickly brings you crashing back down to Earth when you finish the first temple. After you've solved a myriad and frankly fantastic series of puzzles, you go through the boss door. Immediately you're face to face with the dead corpse of your baby brother. He looks maybe 12 at the most, and branches are growing through his body and out the hollow sockets where his eyes once were. After defeating the boss, you cut your brother down and carry his body across your shoulders to your destroyed house, where you lay him down on his old bed. Then, you have to go back out and do the same for your father and mother. It turns out that your family isn't lost, they're dead, and the monsters of this creepy world want to consume their bodies, and the only way to save them is to defeat the bosses or the huge beasts that hold them captive. The story of Severed is unique in that there is no traditional happy ending. You cannot bring your family back to life. You cannot take them back to the real world and make things go back to the way they were before. The more you defeat monsters, collect their body parts, and eat them, the more monster-like your character Sasha becomes. Sasha's eyes go from normal in the beginning to this yellow on red combination. To me, this symbolizes that the more that she clings to the idea of saving her family, of not letting them go, the more she becomes part of this dark, underworld-like land, incapable of letting go or moving on. More spoilers! Basically, the entire game is Sasha dealing with the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. In the beginning, shortly after rescuing the body of your brother, it becomes apparent that you cannot save them. You cannot bring them back to life. This, in a way, combines both the denial and the bargaining sections of the stages of grief. Near the end of the game, you discover Sasha's possessed severed arm. It reattaches, and when it does, Sasha gains the power of rage, which gives more strength to your attacks. However, if you use it too long, the rage will overcome you, which incapacitates you and leaves you open to retaliation. This becomes most apparent during the final battle. The only way to defeat the dragon that took your family is to sever your own arm. The dragon eats it and is poisoned, allowing you to defeat him. As soon as Sasha lets go of her anger, she is able to save her family. But when Sasha is faced with the dead bodies of her mother, father, and brother, she is overcome with a depression stage of grief. She collapses to the ground in tears and passes out. Her family gives her one last ghostly message, telling her that the pain she's feeling is just love showing through. When Sasha wakes up, her eyes have returned to their normal color, and she finally arrives at the acceptance stage. She digs a grave for her family, all the while removing and burying the monstrous armor that had chained her to that world. When she finishes and turns away, a white glow leaves the graves. Just as Sasha is moving on, so too is her family. So while the game itself is short and the gameplay a bit repetitive, the incredible story and the fantastic puzzles more than make up for it. I had fun playing it again. As a matter of fact, the beginning had a lot more impact once I knew the entire story. I don't really see there being a sequel. Sasha's story is pretty well told and done, and if they did the same thing but with a different character, the wouldn't have the same impact. We already know the end. But overall, I think Severed's story is amazing and unique, and so I would give it 4.5 Monster Hearts out of 5. Thanks for watching. If you're upset about spoilers, well, I gave you ample warning, and there's no use crying over spoiled milk. Get it? The spoiler, yeah, I need a life. Ugh, that's disgusting. Ugh.